Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. Ben Carson is a man that I had a lot of respect for, and I still have some respect for him. The reason why I respect him is because he managed to overcome difficult circumstances. He was raised in a poor single parent household, and he managed to go on to attend some of the most prestigious universities in the country. And he went on to become a distinguished and renowned neurosurgeon. He's world known and he's accomplished a great deal. And for those reasons alone, a lot of African Americans look up to him as an example of what someone can do, as an example of how someone can accomplish their goals if they persevere and they maintain focus. So for that reason, I respect him a lot, just for those accomplishments. And he's also from my hometown of Detroit, Michigan. So there's a lot of respect that I still have for this man. However, I'm going to point out why I would never vote for Ben Carson. See, before Ben Carson got involved into politics, I had great respect for him. It's when he entered politics that I began to lose respect for him. So in this video, I'm going to explain why I would never vote for Ben Carson for president. I'll start off with this. The main reason why I would not vote for Ben Carson is because of his positions on civil rights issues. This man opposes affirmative action, a program that benefited people like him, African Americans like him. Without affirmative action, he would not have had an opportunity to become the great and respected doctor that he is today. And many African Americans like myself would not have had a chance to go to law school or medical school or to graduate school or even to college without programs like affirmative action. So I can't respect a man who benefited from a program and then turns around and opposes that program for political expediency. I can't respect that. Also, this man has made statements in support of voter ID laws and other laws that suppress the black vote. I don't know if he's uninformed or if he's just taking out a political position. But the fact of the matter is, voter ID laws disproportionately impact African Americans. African Americans are less likely to have the forms of identification that are required under some of these laws. Uh, they're less likely to have birth certificates or passports as required by law. And I think it was in Kansas. In Kansas, they asked him about his position on their voter ID laws there. And he basically said that he supports such laws, when all the evidence indicates that these laws do not um, really fight in-person voter fraud, because basically in-person voter fraud is very rare. And all these laws do is end up suppressing black voters and other minorities, so-called minority voters. So that's another example of him taking a position that's contrary to the interests of black people. Also, he's made statements about the Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Lives Matter movement, as everyone knows, is a movement designed to fight against police brutality. No movement is perfect. all movements are subject to constructive criticism. But I have a problem with this man describing Black Lives Matter as bullies. I have a problem with him essentially suggesting that their slogan is sickening because it doesn't include all people. I have a problem with that because black people are the ones who are being targeted by police. Black people are the ones who are disproportionately shot by the police, disproportionately killed by the police, disproportionately arrested and harassed by the police, disproportionately stopped and frisked by the police. See, our lives aren't treated with respect. So that's why you have to have someone out here demanding respect for black lives. So his opposition to the Black Lives Matter movement is troubling. And the fact that he wants the Black Lives Matter movement and others to focus on issues outside of the issue of police brutality is telling. Also, I'll point out this. This man benefited from welfare programs. And it's my understanding that he probably benefited from the Pell Grant. I'm not sure, but I know that at one point he was on welfare. But yet this same man attacks the welfare system. And I understand the whole thing about dependency, but there are many people who need welfare in order to stay afloat during difficult times. They need welfare so that they can eat. They need government assistance to provide Head Start education for their children. There are many people who come from poor families like he came from, who need Pell Grants and student loans to fund their education so that they can have the same opportunities that he had. So that's my position on that. You know, the fact that he opposes issues that are that deal with civil rights and black issues, I have to. That's the reason why I can't support him. You know, his opposition to those types of issues. That's one reason. The next reason why I can't support him is because of his anti-Muslim statements. His statements against Muslims, his Islamophobia. I can't support any candidate who expresses prejudice towards an entire religious group, especially when I belong to that religious group. This man has said that he doesn't think a Muslim should be president of the United States, when the Constitution doesn't have any kind of religious requirement for holding office, when the Constitution gives us all the right to freedom of religion. You can't pretend to espouse American values. You can't pretend to be a patriot when at the same time you advocate things that are contrary to the document that's supposed to be sacred in this country. And that document is the United States Constitution. So that's the second reason why I can't support Ben Carson. Also, I can't support him because of his complete lack of political experience. I find it, hypocritical that all these people who attacked Barack Obama because of his lack of experience. At the time when he was running, he was a newly elected senator, and people questioned his lack of experience. But I don't hear any of those people today questioning Ben Carson's lack of experience. This man has never served in a political office. And you're going to trust him with the most important political office in this country? I can't take people seriously who would do such a thing. You're going to trust a man with no experience dealing with Congress, no experience as an executive, as a government executive? You're going to trust him to be in charge of the military, to make all kinds of life and death decisions dealing with foreign issues and domestic issues? That doesn't make any kind of sense to me. So that's the third reason why I cannot support Ben Carson. The fourth reason why I can't support him is because of his apparent dishonesty. This man said that he was offered a full scholarship to West Point. However, there is no record of him ever applying to West Point, much less being extended admission to the university. There's no evidence of this. And also at West Point, there's no such thing as a full scholarship to attend the university. All costs are covered for all students. So he obviously embellished on a lot of his statements in his autobiography. And also there's the issue of him claiming that he stabbed someone as a child. But there is no one to corroborate that story. This person that he allegedly stabbed hasn't come forward. The people who knew him around that time haven't indicated that he had any violent tendencies or anything. So this seems like another exaggeration. Also, he told a story about how he protected some white students around the time when Martin Luther King was assassinated and there were riots going on. He claims that he protected them, but there are no white students to come forward to verify that story. So this raises serious questions about his honesty, about his integrity. And I know politicians aren't known for being honest people. I know that. But I expect more from politicians, especially black politicians. I expect you to have some kind of integrity. I expect your word to mean something. Because people are relying on your word when they decide which candidate they're going to support. And if your word can't be trusted, you can't be trusted. So that's another reason why I can't support Ben Carson. And then I will also add a fifth reason why I can't support Ben Carson, and that's because of the outlandish and ridiculous statements that he has made. These statements cause me to question his judgment and even his intelligence. I mean, I know he's a brain surgeon and all. I mean, obviously he's an intelligent man when it comes to medicine. But when it comes to politics, he doesn't have political intelligence. When it comes to some common sense matters, he doesn't have much intelligence. This man had the nerve to compare Obamacare to slavery, to compare a government program that makes it possible for the uninsured to be insured. He compared that to slavery. Slavery, a brutal system of oppression where people were sold like cattle, beaten, raped, killed, abused in every imaginable way. He's going to compare that to Obamacare. That's an extreme statement. It's an absurd statement. It's a ridiculous statement. Also, this man said recently, well, not recently, but it's resurfaced recently. This man said that without Fox News, the United States would be like Cuba. Fox News, as if Fox News is some kind of beacon of freedom. Fox News is a scourge. Fox News is a network dedicated to race baiting, degrading black people. Essentially, fueling hatred towards African American people. And this man has the nerve to celebrate this news station, to suggest that it is what is keeping us supposedly free from becoming like Cuba, a country that's quote unquote not free. Also, this man recently made some outlandish statements about pyramids. And he's been making these statements over time, from what I understand. He basically said that he believes that the pyramids were created by Joseph, a character in the Bible, a person in the Bible. And he said that the pyramids were created to store grain. All I can do is shake my head at that ridiculous statement. I mean, history is clear. The Egyptians documented their history. Everyone knows that pyramids were used in part as tombs. There's no evidence whatsoever that there was grain in these pyramids. And also, the history documents who created the pyramids at different times. It wasn't created by, they weren't created by Joseph from the Bible. And, those kind of statements just make you question somebody's, like, belief system. I mean, the fact that they would espouse such views that aren't supported by any kind of science or history. We need politicians who base their decisions on rational ideas instead of irrational ones. So this makes me question his suitability to be president, to make such a ridiculous statement that's contrary to history and contrary to common sense. And before I go, I want to mention this last point. The last point is that Ben Carson is disconnected from the black community in a lot of ways. And a prime example of his disconnection from the black community is a radio ad that he ran recently. He ran an ad on black radio, and the ad featured a rap artist rapping and encouraging people to vote for Ben Carson through song. And obviously that didn't go over well, especially on black Twitter. Everyone was clowning him, joking about it. There was the hashtag tweet your reaction to Ben Carson's rap, and it had all these faces expressing disgust and amusement with that rap. Black people are like other people. You don't need to sing to us or dance with us in order for us to understand your message, in order to persuade us to support you as a candidate. And such attempts really say a lot about how this candidate is disconnected, or at least the people who run his campaign are completely disconnected from black people, that they would think that it was a cool idea to run this ad. He might as well start passing out chicken and watermelon, because that's exactly what this is like, man. Black people don't need a minstrel show. If you present strong political positions that support the interests of black people, then black people will support you. They will support you based on that. But obviously, as I pointed out, this man can't do that because he doesn't support issues that matter to black people. And many people said that when Obama was running for office, that black people voted for him simply because he's black. The candidacy of Ben Carson flies in the face of that logic, because Ben Carson is the only black person running for office right now. So if that logic were true, then black people would be rallying behind him simply because he was black right now. But he is not receiving that kind of support in the black community. So people really need to dispense with that ridiculous notion that black people support any black candidate that's running. Peace.